Hi, I'm Mike Woods, and we're talking about everyday mission through your relational network. When Jesus said, go and make disciples, one of the best ways that we can do that is with the people that we have regular contact with, our relational network, or what the Bible describes as our oikos. And if you haven't seen the initial video, Intro into Everyday Mission, click on the link above. Make sure that you watch that first because this builds on that foundation. In this presentation, we're specifically talking about how to identify your relational network. So the first step in identifying your relational network is to make a list of the people in your relational network. Now, I know this seems a little bit elementary, but this is the first effective step that you can take for your relational network. If you don't identify those specific people who are in your relational network, then you won't follow through on the following 3 steps with those people. Now remember, in the Greek, the word for relational network was oikos. It meant household, what we would call today a relational network. It consists of family, extended family, friends, neighbors, coworkers, people that you go to school with, and so on. And this is just a list of the names that I came up with in my relational network that I identified with this first step of making a list. Step number 2 is to identify who's your 8 to 15. You cannot do everyday mission with every single person in your relational network. It's impossible. Research shows that we can effectively build strong, consistent relationships with about 8 to 15 people in our lives. And in the Gospels, we see that Jesus poured his life into 12 disciples. So there may be something to this. So the second step is to select your 8 to 15. The third step is going to be to map your relational network. Now you start by doing that by drawing a circle in the middle of a piece of paper and simply put your name in there. And then you are going to visually map out your 8 to 15. In my case, I'm going to show you my map of my relational network of the people that I chose to build those strong, consistent relationships with. They are my son Joshua, my other son Jacob, my mom, a good friend of mine named Steve, another friend of mine named Bill, a young man that I'm mentoring by the name of Fabian. In addition to that, I also have my third son Jonathan on there, another friend of mine by the name of OJ, my wife Linda, another friend of mine named Jackie, and another friend named Muffet. These are my 8 to 15. These are the folks that I plan on doing everyday mission with in my relational network. And I've built this diagram that I can use and refer to for some things that we'll talk about in a future video. So that was step number 3, which was to map your 8 to 15. Step number 4 is to color code the people in your relational network. And I basically use a stoplight colors. A red, green, and yellow, the same colors that you would see on a stoplight, because people in your relational network will fall into different spiritual categories. And in order to differentiate those, I use these stoplight colors. Everyone whose name that you see in red are people who do not know Christ as their Savior in my relational network. The names that you see in yellow are people in my relational network that I know Christ as their Savior, but they need to grow more in their daily relationship with Him. And then the people in my relational network that you can see that I've diagrammed that are green are the people that I know in my relational network who spend consistent time with the Lord on a regular basis. So those are the 4 steps to identifying your relational network. Number 1, make a list of the people in your relational network. Number 2, identify who's your 8 to 15. Step number 3, map your 8 to 15. And then step number 4, color code your 8 to 15. In our next presentation, I'll talk to you about how to do everyday mission with the people who are in the different color codes, red, yellow, and green. Hey, listen, if you have any comments or questions, leave them in the section below. And while you're at it, subscribe to our YouTube channel.